Hey everyone, my name is Penny Zanker, and it's time to reset. This podcast goes beyond just navigating change. It's about new ways of thinking about how you can approach challenges, how you can shift your mindset when needed, create some space and grace for yourself so that you can rethink, recharge, and reprioritize when and where needed. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Thank you for hitting play and sharing this next episode with me. It's time to reset. Hello and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zanker and I'm your host. And I'm always looking for relevant topics, things that are going to support you in your effort to take back time, to take back control and take back your focus. And today we're going to talk a little bit about burnout and some really practical things that you can do with using big words to regulate your nervous system. But we're going to talk about how you can really be able to better manage that stress and be able to avoid burnouts and breakdowns. How does that sound, everyone? So today I have Michelle Grosser with me, and she is a real delight. She is an attorney, a pastor, a nervous system expert, a certified master life coach, and the host to the Calm Mom podcast, which I was able to be a guest on, and it was absolutely delightful. Through semantic and neuroscience-based modalities, she coaches women through discovering what is beneath their triggers and emotions so that they can begin the healing journey. And men, this is for you too. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Find peace in the present. And she deeply believes that the most profound thing that we can offer our children is our own healing. And she and her husband, Jeff, live with 2 daughters, and they live in Miami. So welcome to the show, Michelle.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's so good to be here.
So I didn't know beforehand, I must have skipped over it, that you're also a pastor. I think that's why there's something calming when you talk. Like, I could listen to you talk all day. Like, you must be, if I had like that, that meditation app that has you talking, I could just listen to it, and it would just, that in itself would help my nervous system. Do you hear that from people?
Yeah, I do. And thank you. I guess I received that. I guess I'm in the right vocation, right? Of talking for a living.
Yeah. So did you have a serious burnout that these skills became important to you personally, or what's the story behind why you do what you do?
Oh, I sure did. I sure did. I have been practicing law in Miami for 15 years. And for the last 10 years, 10 years, I've had my own practice. And then I had children and all of the things that come with that. And at the beginning of the pandemic, I think like a lot of people, I was forced to slow down in ways that I wouldn't have otherwise, I think. And what I realized quite quickly, it just kind of smacked me across the face, was just how deep a state of burnout I was in. And it was showing up, I think, for a long time in mental and emotional symptoms that I was just ignoring and suppressing and pushing past, because that's what I'm so good at doing, or was so good at doing.
Well, and I think so many people are push, 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 push.
Oh, yeah.
So are you going to share with us what those symptoms are? Because there might be people who are feeling that right now, but they don't recognize it. I don't want to interrupt your story, but make sure you go back to that.
Yeah, well, we can talk about it now. So when we talk about ultimately what it is my nervous system was so dysregulated, right? That's burnout is a symptom of that. And there are mental symptoms, there are emotional symptoms, and there are physical symptoms. And it's the physical ones that finally sat me down and made me do something about this. But some of the mental symptoms and emotional symptoms I was experiencing were, first of all, a lot of anxiety. That wasn't really something I had noticed or dealt with before. It seemed like it came out of nowhere. I was dealing with a lot of brain fog. I was dealing with chronic exhaustion. Like, I would get a full night's sleep, but just wake up exhausted, right? And by 2 p.m., I'm done for the day. My creativity was zapped. My bandwidth was zapped, right? Every little thing was kind of setting me off. I was worrying about things that I hadn't really worried about before. I felt like I was in a chronic state of not only busyness, but everything felt urgent. And I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, like you wake up and you already feel behind for the day, right? And it's like you're just running all day long and you feel like you can't get caught up. Those are all symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system. And then some of the physical symptoms that really caught my attention was I started having pretty severe gut issues, gut and digestive issues. I developed new food sensitivities. I went gluten-free, skin conditions. Right? I developed this rash actually around my lips, on my chin, on my face. I noticed my hair was starting to thin. I was getting headaches. I wasn't sleeping well. My joints were kind of like achy all the time. And I had chronic tension in my neck and my shoulders. And I was going to the chiropractor and I went.
Girl, how did you miss all that?
And got all the labs because it can be so subtle, right? We're like, oh,
I'm saying that to you, but I'm saying it to everybody who's listening
yes,
because we ignore. So I'm not really coming down on you.
Yeah, no, but I did. I ignored
but
it
we
for so
ignore
long.
those things, right? We just keep pushing through because we're like, oh, we'll get past it. It's no big deal.
My schedule's going to slow down. It's going to get better, right? I'm going to sleep better once that project is passed, or when my kids are a little older, I'll have time. And that is a mountain with no peak. Like that never actually happens. We just keep doing the same things we've been doing.
So
it shows up in a lot of ways.
But COVID then helped you to realize, because you had to slow down, that you realized that these things were actually a major issue.
Yeah.
So what do we do when we recognize that some of those things are present? And, for women, one of the first things that came up for me too is, well, some of those symptoms are also menopausal like symptoms, right?
Yes.
So like, I'm an older person and not super old, but, and old enough to be experiencing some of those things. How do you determine? Because maybe that was, someone would say, oh, well, that's just, menopause, or that's just that. How do you determine that it is that it is burnout? And what do you do about it?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So I went to my doctor first because I was convinced I have an autoimmune condition, right? Or like something that's explained. And they ran all my labs and it wasn't good news to me because they told me everything was within normal range.
Everything was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, but this isn't normal, right? How I'm feeling. So I think first, if you're experiencing a lot of these things, yes, see your doctor, run the labs. And then I actually hired also a functional medicine practitioner because I'm like, this is hormonal too, right? And she was able to tell me like at that time, 5 years ago, I was in my early 30s. That wasn't the case for me, but it might be the case for someone else. So yes, absolutely check those things off first.
So you rule things out, right?
Rule
you
things
check it out and rule those out. And then you came to, it's the only thing it could be.
Yeah. And then I started to really learn about my nervous system as I started to work. I worked with a coach to recover from burnout, and holy moly, like that was the through line through everything. As I started to learn how to regulate my nervous system, which requires this holistic approach in so many different ways of my life, right? And my mindsets and just ways of being that I had to adjust, all those symptoms started to subside, and it didn't take very long. And I've been able to maintain that. And that's why now I'm so passionate about teaching people about it, because I was someone who lived I had worked at an insurance defense law firm where my time from the minute I got there till I came home was billed in 6-minute increments. Like you want to talk about being
6-minute increments. Wow.
That will skew your perception of productivity real quick. And it's not sustainable, right? And then you're like running the same process at home and you're trying to account for every moment, and only the things that are billable become the things that are actually productive. And all of that's just a lie, and it's not sustainable. So really like rethinking my mindset around a lot of these things.
So rethinking your mindset. So, I just have to plug my book here. Yes. The Reset Mindset is exactly that, is having that mindset that you're constantly thinking and rethinking about how you do things to make sure that you're focused on what matters most on a regular basis. So tell us, let's hear some strategies for people who might be in that place. What are some simple things that they can start with right away where they can regulate their nervous system?
Okay, this is really good. So I'll give you guys, this is how I like to teach it. I talk about 3 kind of overarching foundational pieces that help our nervous system to be healthy and resilient and regulated. But then I also can teach some in the moment, like really quick things for if we're feeling dysregulated or activated or anxious or shut down or disconnected, that can actually help bring us back in the moment.
Yes.
So big picture, I guess at first it's important to understand what's happening in our body when we say we're regulated, right? Our nervous system has different circuits, kind of like a car. Our car has the gas pedal and our car has the brake, and our nervous system has the same thing, right? So when there's things going on in our environment that require us to kind of hit the gas pedal, we have to meet a deadline, we have to rush out the door in the morning, we have to, pitch a project or whatever it is, we feel that energy in our body, and that's a good, right? Our body can like amp things up so that we can respond appropriately to the things that are happening in our life. Through our evolution, it was important for us to be able to, go into fight or flight and run away from threats to our survival.
Right.
And then on the flip side, there's the brake of our nervous system, and that will really slow things down. And a lot of times when we've been overwhelmed with stress, that brake will just kind of slam down. And that's where we find ourselves in states of burnout or disconnection, or kind of wanting to just zone out on Netflix and social media and things like that. And when we talk about having a healthy nervous system, that means we have a nervous system that can flow between states without getting stuck. So I can feel a little bit of energy that I need to give a big speech, but I don't get stuck in that anxious space. I have tools that can bring me back to baseline stress level. So that's ultimately what all of these techniques are that I teach. So when we talk about these overarching ones, the first one, and these are things I recommend that we do every day. And each one, I think we have to do it for about 10 minutes on a nervous system level for us to feel the impact. But these are really basic things, you guys, that we can incorporate every day. So the first one is we've got to get movement in every single day. And again, for our nervous system, at least 10 minutes. Yep. So moving around. I just bought a walking pad for my desk. So we're going to get moving. And it doesn't have to be CrossFit, and it doesn't have to be, going for sprints. Like, can you sit on the floor and stretch? Is that all you got today? That's okay, right? Pilates, go for a walk over your lunch break instead of sitting all day. Moving our body 10 minutes a day. The next thing is stillness. We have to learn how to be still. Yes, precisely. And I love so much that
it's hard for a lot of people.
It's so hard for so many of us because
especially when we're used to doing.
Oh, yeah. And we don't realize how unsafe it feels to our nervous system to slow down and just be with our thoughts. Like, that is terrifying to so many of us. So man, you can titrate that. Start with 30 seconds. Do it while you're walking. Don't bring your phone with you, right? Don't bring your earbuds with you, and just go for a walk without all of that. And you can get both in at the same time, right? It's stillness and movement. But I know that's something you teach a lot about too, as far as like focus. We need to have remove a lot of that stimulation.
Well, and it's connected to the nervous system. When your nervous system is overloaded, you can't focus.
You can't.
Right?
And our nervous system it's like a computer chip, right? It has a capacity. And so many of us are like stimulating our nervous system beyond its capacity, and that drives dysregulation.
Right.
Yeah. So building in stillness practice, meditation, prayer, journaling, just being with your phone off and going tech free for an afternoon, beautiful practices that can help. And then the third one, and this is my favorite one because I think as adults especially, we're really disconnected from it, and it's so important for our body and our nervous system, is at least 10 minutes of play every day. And when I say that, I just feel a lot of resistance right away from people because they're like, well, I don't have time for that, first of all, or that's for children, or like, I don't even know what I would do. And I'm not really talking about, sitting down and like playing with your kids, although that might be it. But I'm talking about like, what are the things that excite you? What are the things that light you up? What are the hobbies? What are the things you used to do when you were a kid? Like, did you love playing an instrument or baking or riding skateboard or whatever? Like, we've lost touch with so much of that. And we don't realize how much our body actually needs those things. Our mind and our soul need those things. And we don't have to overthink it. We don't have to go and buy all this stuff or plan this big thing. But man, just a few minutes of doing those things every day brings a ton of regulation and space to our body. Yep.
That's great. And that's where we make connections to important connections when we create that space.
Yes.
So, when we have that stillness, it's like, it's like all of a sudden the answers that we've been looking for, they come to us, right?
Oh, yeah. Watch what happens.
Rested, when we have that space, when we're at play. Gosh. Actually, I had this big experience that when I was working in my IT business and I was burning myself out from time to time, but I was lucky I lived in Europe, so we were able to take these long vacations, right? So I would take like 2 or 3 weeks off at a time. And okay, maybe I'd be checking emails or whatever, but mostly I was in my vacation, and I would always this was like a thing. I would always get a big deal or a really big connection during that time. So it
That's
kind of
great.
reinforced like take a vacation because there's a big deal coming and you got to take a break. Uh,
Yes.
so
Yes.
like we can also reframe in our brain, right? What the possibilities are when we free ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Like when I'm walking or like you said, just meditating, or sometimes like even today, this afternoon, Wednesday's my podcast recording day. So this is my fifth one today. And I just went in between, I laid on my bed and I just like stared at the ceiling. And I can't tell you during that time, like all these ideas were coming to me about like all this creativity was coming to me. And that doesn't happen when I just like sit and plug away all
Mhm.
day long. Right. So it's like really creating space for all of that. And I love that you've experienced so much coming through when you're taking time away. It's awesome.
Totally.
Beautiful.
I love it when I'm working out and when I'm in the shower. Those are
Yes.
times like that or I'm biking. Like I love to bike, and those are things that really come up for me. So
Yep.
let's shift gears. And you said you had some things that people could do in the moment.
Yeah.
Like I'm super stressed. I have 60 seconds before I get on to my next meeting, and it's a
Yeah.
super high pressure pitch. What's something that I could do to like calm my nervous system down? Because what that does when you take those times is it stops stress from compounding. And
Yep.
it's that compounding stress day over day, right? That leads to burnout. If you can
Yes.
like empty the cup
Yep.
so that it's never overflowing, right? Then you're in good shape. So what are those things that we could do like right now?
That's exactly right. Okay, so the first thing to understand is that our nervous system does not speak a verbal language. And that's so important because I think so often we think we can talk ourselves into these states. Like you were saying, if we have a big talk and we're feeling really nervous, our heart's racing and our palms are sweaty and our voice is cracking, and we tell ourselves, okay, just calm down. You're prepared for this. Like you've got this. You know what you've done this 10 times. Like our body doesn't our body doesn't necessarily get the message, right? Or worse yet, like someone else will tell us, just calm down. It's not a big deal. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's like makes it even worse. Yes.
Yeah, don't tell
Um,
someone to calm down.
oh no, not a good idea. So we have to communicate safety ultimately is what we're communicating to our body and our nervous system in a way that it understands, not with words, but with movement, with breath, with sound, with touch, all of these different, portals or gateways to the nervous system, if you
So do
will.
I hug myself?
So that can be really helpful, right? Doing containment like that, squeezing and hugging yourself can help a lot of people.
Helps me fall back to sleep. If I wake up and I can't get back to sleep, I do
That's it.
snuggle myself and I go back to sleep.
Yeah. And that helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some other things that work? Shaking works really,
Oh, right.
really well. Yes. And I do that a lot too. Like sometimes I'll have a podcast or something where I'll like get really nervous and I'll do it. I'll stand in my office. I just start shaking out my arms, shaking out, wiggling my whole body, shaking out my
Right.
legs. And I look ridiculous.
Why does that work?
But it works because here's the thing. When we are in fight or flight, which is what's happening when we're feeling that anxiety, think about it. Every cell in our body is being primed for action. It's being primed to respond to what our body is perceiving as a threat, to run or to fight. So when we come against that and try to just calm down and sit calmly and focus and talk ourselves out of it, we're actually suppressing every instinct in our body to move. So instead, if we can follow the impulse of fight or flight, of that anxiety to move, however that looks, do some jumping jacks, run in place, shake it out, and then bring in like a more soothing practice like breath work or like that containment, that hug that you're talking about. That is really how you're going to be able to release and discharge a lot of that frenetic energy and then bring that sense of calm that you're actually looking for to be able to have access to your prefrontal cortex, right? The part of our brain that lets us do all these beautiful things that we love to do.
That's
Interesting.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. What's also interesting is it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, what part of the world you live in, what you believe in, whether you work in a big company, you're an entrepreneur, or you you work at home, whether it's for yourself or for your family. We're human. And this is
Yes.
the human condition, right? This is what we can do that by doing something physical, we can then change the mental and emotional.
That's right. Yep. I think we underestimate how much of an impact and a connection that there is between our mental state and our physical state, right? Like you're the expert in mindset, but like a lot of these mindsets that don't ultimately serve us, they actually cause a physiological response in our body, right? Our body then like starts pumping out cortisol and adrenaline, and like we feel all activated. And it's way beyond just telling ourselves to chill out or calm down or whatever it is, the end goal that we're wanting to reach.
Yeah, my favorite example is watching a scary movie, right? If we really want to see, we're watching a scary movie and we're like, oh, the music has us totally in it. And we're sitting on the edge of our chairs and we're like biting our nails and we've got goosebumps going on, right? Because our body is physically responding. Our heart is beating faster and we're sitting on the sofa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Perfectly safe. So I think that's a perfect example of that mind and body connection that controls us, or we can control it based on what we focus on, right? And
that's right. And for people listening to, to your show that are concerned about their productivity and their efficiency and their time management and all these different things, it's the same idea, right? When we wake up feeling that sense of urgency or like we're behind, when we have struggles being productive and we feel like we are procrastinating a lot, those are nervous system states, right? Like people that think they procrastinate a lot, I'm like, you're actually in a dorsal vagal collapse and your nervous system just doesn't feel like it can move and function and do these things for whatever reasons, right? And it's not actually a matter of just willing yourself to do it or being more disciplined. Sometimes it is, but more often than not, it's actually way deeper than that.
Absolutely. In some of the studies and classes that I've been in, that the body is the quickest way, right, to create change in any of those states. You want to change your state, then it's through the body.
Yep.
So anyway, this has been amazing. Tell us where we can find out more about you. People want to connect with you. They want to work with you. Like, where do they go?
Awesome. Okay. So the best place to find me is my website, and it's just my name, michellegrosser.com. You can also find me on Instagram at It's Michelle Grosser. And then my podcast is currently called The Calm Mom, but we're in the process of rebranding so that we're not just for moms. It's really for everyone. And what we focus on there is nervous system regulation, specifically for anxiety, overwhelm, and burnout.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It was really a great pleasure.
So fun. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you all for being here. We've got the ticket, right? You're human. First of all, congratulations. You found out today that you're human and that you actually can very easily and simply reduce down the stress that you experience on a day-to-day basis by regulating your nervous system. Like, it's that easy. Movement, stillness, which are kind of the opposite, which is funny, right? Those things together with some simple play, right? Done on a regular basis with some individual things that you can do from time to time when you're experience the heat of it. These are things that you can do. So that's what I want you to do when you leave today's show is just pick one thing that you can do that will put this into practice right away, because that's how we create change in our lives. That's how we manage the challenge. That's how we create a reset mindset, right? We do that one reset moment at a time. So recognize the reset moment and regulate your nervous system so that you can avoid burnouts and breakdowns, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally. My name is Penny Zenker, and this is Take Back Time. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, everyone. Hey, thank you for spending this time with me. It really means a lot. If you're feeling a little off, distracted, overwhelmed, stuck, or just out of sync, remember that's your signal to reset. And that's all it takes, just recognizing one reset moment at a time. So stay tuned for more tips, tools, tricks, stories, strategies, all here on Time to Reset. We'll see you in the next episode.